real estate agent? Are you looking to acquire clients consistently so you can grow your business and your income to live a great lifestyle? This is Dave Finale and the RE Skill Builder Podcast.
No, I forgot something. Hey, hello, everybody. This is a special edition of Real Estate Talk TGIF. We were originally scheduled to come on at noon Eastern, but it's 4 Eastern. We had a little time zone issue. No big deal. This has happened before, so I'm really not worried about it too much. This is a special edition, as I said. Brent, this is episode 142, and it's 140 weeks in a row. 140 weeks in a row. Friday, we're also doing our regular scheduled broadcast, which will be 143. And here you are, Brent Gove. Started with, I believe you started with Remax and then went to Keller Williams and with EXP. Brent, a lot of people, call you the big MML, the man, the myth, the legend, right? And I'm one of those. So as I said, this is Real Estate Talk TGIF episode 142. So I have one question I start every broadcast with, Brent, and that is, do you know what TGIF stands for?
Sure I do.
And that is
Friday.
Well, you know what? If it was Friday, you might have a shot at it, but it's really, thank God, it's finale. So, I mean, that's me. That's the name of the show, TGIF. Everybody loves it. So I love it. So it was something that just happened. It just happened, So I started this broadcast 140 weeks ago because I wanted to bring value to real estate agents. And I've had the greats on it. Now I got another great in Brent Gove. Brent, thanks so much for coming on today.
Great to be here. Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome. Hey, so let's just jump into the life of Brent Gove. I mean, some of us know who you are. We know where you came from. We know where you're at now. But talk to me about, how you got into real estate and how you built your business of selling more than 4,000 homes in your 20-plus year career. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, sure. Got into real estate when I was 30. A friend of mine, Darren, calls me up and said, man, you ever thought about getting into real estate? I'm like, no, never in a million years, never crossed my mind one time. He says, well, you should do it. I'm like, why should I do it? He goes, you're outgoing, you're motivated, you just kind of bootstrap things. You're going to, no one has to tell you to go to work, and you're good with people. You love people. I think you're just going to kill it. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, can you make any money? And he's like, yeah, you can make money. I'm like, well, how does that work? And he says, well, if you sell a house for $100,000, you imagine finding a home to sell for $100,000. Anyways, but I'm 25 years, not 20 years. And if you could, when you sell a home for $100,000, keep in mind, I live in California. And so you get 3%, which is $3,000, and the broker gets half, you get half, you make $1,500 every time you sell a house, sell a home amount. I'm like, okay, I'm in. And that's why I got in, was to make $1,500 a month extra from my family, which 25 years ago was like plenty of money.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's why I got into real estate at 30, was to make $1,500 a month.
That's amazing. And by the way, I was not on my phone. I was just sharing this to other places so everybody can see this today.
Not a problem.
So Brent, talk to me about, how you started out in business. How did you actually start making money, right? How did you start making money? Because, one of the things that I say to a lot of people is we've got to find your switch. We've got to turn it a little bit. We've got it so that you're actually out there making money. So please talk to me to that and how you started and what you saw worked and how you scaled it, so to speak.
So are you talking pre-real estate or real estate forward?
Real estate.
Real estate. Yeah. So, I got in, didn't win the rookie of the year. I worked for a small independent. They had like 4 people. I think I sold 2 or 3 homes my first 6 months. I wasn't even any good at it, but I was part-time, definitely was doing it to make an extra $1,500 a month, and kind of struggling. And my broker gave me some advice that really helped me 25 years ago. And I believe it's as powerful today as it was 25 years ago. I'm like, how do you get people to go look at real estate and want to make offers? And he basically said, you need to find a way to almost will it to happen. Get them to get in your car, go show homes. They will get excited, drag them back to the office 40 minutes back to here, and I'll write the offer for you. So, okay. So I started saying, let's go look at 2 or 3 homes. And I got people in my truck, had a truck, Chevy Silverado. And back in the day, 25 years ago, and we were looking at properties. Sure enough, they'd see something they got excited about. I'd drag them back to Fair Oaks, 35, 40 minutes away in traffic. We'd write offers. And the next year I sold 18 homes in 12 months, then 28, and then 48. We did mailers back in the day. The penny saver, we'd send out 5,000, 10,000 postcards.
Right.
We did a 1% return. We had like 100 people that would respond, 120. We'd sifted those, calling them, and we sold homes. And I will tell you this. Now they told me it was a $100,000 house. You get 3%. I did not sell a home over $100,000 for 2 years. All the homes were $56,000, 68,
Wow.
78. I remember I was doing an open house. It was $95,000. And people were irate. Oh my God, who would pay $95,000? This is California. And they thought it was so expensive. And I think after 2 years, I broke into the luxury high-end market. I sold a home on 2 acres, 3,000 square foot with a pool, and it was $128,000. So I was a high-end, high-baller agent, and that was my big commission. I was so excited, but yeah. So that's how I got going. We did it with mailers through the penny saver. That's how we did it.
Okay, so great. So so we go forward. You started in 96 or 97?
96.
Right. So 96 actually was the year I purchased my brokerage. I started in my brokerage that year. That was my first year there, right? And you talk about prices of homes and how relevant it is. Honestly, I was first licensed in 76, 20 years before that, right? In my college years at Rutgers in New Brunswick, New Jersey. My first listing was $49,900. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch house in New Jersey in Somerset County. Amazing, right? I think it sold for full price back then. I don't remember, but we could sit in model homes and get $400 if somebody bought one, and did a few of those too. But moving forward, you started that brokerage. Now that brokerage was that an independent brokerage that you started?
Yeah, independent. Brokerage, the California Equal Opportunity Home Ownership Association. That was the name of the brokerage.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, all right. So then you make the trek and you move to a bigger firm. You move to RE/MAX, right?
Yeah, about a year later.
What's that?
About a year later, the owners of that brokerage shut it down to move to Newport Beach. They go 3% of 100,000, 3% of $1 million. We chose 3% of $1 million, and they shut their brokerage down and moved to Southern California to sell $1 million homes in Newport Beach. And I had to go somewhere, so I went to RE/MAX. That's how I ended up at RE/MAX.
And how did that transformation happen? And did you? I mean, those were in the days really before teams, right?
Right.
So what did you do there, and how did you build your business once you moved from one brokerage to another?
Yeah, it was no big deal. I went to RE/MAX, and they're like, let us know if you need anything. And they kind of left you alone, and you sink or swim. And I just kept doing my penny saver mailers. And about the third year, I was selling HUD homes. Remember that? 500 million, the HUD homes, you bought a brokerage. And I noticed this one company was just killing it, John Brooks Realty. They were beating Coldwell Banker, RE/MAX, and Lions. Lions was a 1,200 person independent in Sacramento, California. I'm from Northern California. And they were beating Lions. I mean, Lions, that was a big brand in Sacramento. RE/MAX and Coldwell Banker. Keller Williams didn't exist back then. There were no Keller Williams. And they were beating everybody. And long story short, I one day stumbled across their secret sauce. You know what I mean? And they were doing open houses, and they'd put out like 40 or 50 signs. And I'd done open houses. I was a RE/MAX agent. I was 30. I had no signs. So what do you do? My mom and dad are 55-year-old real estate brokers. Go, hey, can I hold one of your Coldwell Banker listings open? They're like, I guess. So here I'm a RE/MAX agent holding Coldwell Banker open homes open. And by the way, from that day forward, I held open Sotheby's and Coldwell Banker and Century 21. And we always held other firms' listings open in the best location where you want to get the right market share and high price listings and high price buyers. And I just call them, can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? No, yes. And then fourth, fifth call, you get a yes. And here I am in this primo neighborhood, people pouring in, and I'm just collecting all these high-end buyers. And so, but John Brooks Realty had a way of doing it. I get to the house, there's 30 cars out front. There are people in the front yard. You could see them upstairs in the windows. They were in the backyard. It was complete chaos. And I went, and I looked at and it said, open house, free list of area homes. In case they don't like the home, but they go in for the list. Put free list of area homes on your open house signs. And it didn't say John Brooks Realty, it just said open house this way, free list of area homes. And then they were able to put, back in the day, 500 moves you in. Regulation Z came out and you had to quote the APR, and you could put 500 moves you in unless you had an actual APR. I actually got sued by an attorney. The only time I've ever been sued for the people of California is I didn't put in fine print where no one can read it, the APR. I never knew about Regulation Z. It was a brand new law back in the day.
Right.
So I took that off my signs. I quit doing, but it was true. You had $500, right? You had $500. You got a HUD home. It really was 500 moves you in this home. And so long story short, the next year I did that. I sold 48 homes because I learned their little secret sauce of 60 signs. And the key being free list of area homes, not the word Coldwell Banker, not EXP, not Remax, not Berkshire Hathaway. Nobody cares what name is on the open house. You ever looked at an open house? Oh, that's a Century 21 on that open house. We can't go to that open house. That one has Coldwell Banker. We can go to that open house. It's the stupidest thing in the world. Don't waste your time putting your broker's name on the sign. It is wasted space. So we would put free list of area homes, open house, COVID compliant, shown by appointment only. Then there's a line for people waiting to get in every 3 minutes. Our appointments are every 3 minutes. And they're just lined up at the door. We're killing it right now during COVID-19. They got to have, a mask. We do a temperature check, a little hand sanitizer. No problem. Anyways, fast forward. I went on to go to Craig Proctor, learned how to have a team, learned about CRMs, learned about marketing, looked about leverage with staff. And the next year I went I'm 48, I'm maxed. And then I learned from the number one Remax agent in the world, Craig Proctor, who's selling 600 homes. The next year I go from 48 to 118. How does that happen? New information, new distinctions, new results. The next year, 180, the next year, 240, the next year, 320, the next year, 386, the next year, 427. And within, I think, 5 years, I went from 48 homes a year to over 400. I 10X'd the old Grant Cardone 10X because I signed up for coaching. I was a sucker who signed up from coaching. A guy next to me at Craig Proctor was like, this is a gimmick, man. He just wants your money. And he got up, grabbed the books Craig Proctor gave him and go, what a ripoff. This guy just wanted, and they pushed coaching pretty hard. I'm like, I don't know. It kind of makes sense to me. I mean, I'm going to spend the $495 a month. Remember, this is 1999.
Yeah.
$495 a month was a lot of money in 1999. And I go, I'm going to do it. 1 year, I'm going to do it. And I go from 48 to 118. Now, people do sign up for coaching and they don't have any kind of a change because they don't implement what they're taught.
Exactly.
I'm an implementer. So anyways, that's kind of my story in real estate. And then 2009, I switched to Keller, but I'll stop here and let you ask some more questions.
Sure. So, there's a couple of really important things that you talked about there. Open houses. I mean, it was a mega open house before a mega open house was something, right? With all the signs. People think that they have a lot of people, it's a mega open house. A little bit more to it than that, right? The other thing is you talked about was a free list of homes. I mean, that's something that Joe Stumpf talked about back in the day, right?
When, what day? When was he talking? What year was that?
Got to be 97, 98.
Yep.
When I first started working with Joe. But, it was, you're talking about free list of homes and then other signs that we sell ugly houses, which I never did. But, you remember that stuff when you saw, and you still see it now. Ugly signs, that kind of thing, right?
Yep.
Back then, Brent, one of the most important things was just do it, because if it didn't look great, it didn't matter. It got more noticed when it wasn't perfect. One of my favorite lines from a buddy out in California, Matt Allman from Social Networks, the imperfection is the connection, right? It's so important to look at that stuff and not worry so much about, getting out there and doing it. I mean, we talk about coaching, right? Craig Proctor bought his stuff, then tried to implement it in my brokerage. No one would buy into it, right? The implementation process, you said, which is so freaking important and so amazing, that people look at this stuff. They go through coaching. People go through my program. And at the end, they drop off. Why? Because they forgot that just because I'm not talking to them every week, they still got to do the same stuff that worked when we were together, right? The implementation process, right?
Yeah.
So it's so important, and yet so many people miss it. So that was through the 2000s. You were with Remax, and then you make the switch over to Keller. Talk a little bit about that and how that all happened. And then you wrote a book, I hear.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. So Keller Williams started to recruit me instantly when they came to Sacramento in 2000. but it took 9 years for me to get there. It wasn't that Keller Williams was a bad company. In fact, I thought well of them. And now other RE/MAX agents are like, oh my gosh, if I hear from one more Keller Williams agent, I'm going to choke somebody. And they'd be like, effing Keller Williams agents. And I remember thinking, well, God, we don't go gaga and goo-goo over RE/MAX. I mean, there must be something to it. I mean, kudos to Keller for making their agents nutso and crazy. Right. And they went on to become the largest real estate company in the world. Well, now that has happened to EXP. If I hear from another EXP agent, hey, listen to me. There must be something about it. And so I never had a negative response to Keller Williams. And in 2009, when in the market crash, when you're selling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes annually, I go, I don't need Keller. I'm killing it at RE/MAX. In 2005, I sold 427 homes and made $3.8 million. And of those 427, 318 were strangers we met at open houses that year. Most people say, I'd never do an open house. I love them. It's like, I remember one Sunday I woke up and it was pouring rain. I mean, I brought 2 sets of clothes and a towel to change. I put out my signs, bungee cord them with the howling wind of signs. I had 37 people show up to my open house in 3.5 hours, dumping rain. I was the only open house in Sacramento. It was blowing so hard. If I didn't strap them to trees and signs, the open houses would blow away. And I met 37, more than 37, probably 50, but 37 strangers in 3.5 hours give me their private Social Security numbers to run credit. All of them accurate. Not one was Mickey Mouse, John Wayne. And I had my mortgage broker run the credit Monday morning. 19 got approved. And then I got to call back 19 buyers Monday. Now, remember, I wake up Sunday, don't know these people. Monday, I'm calling back and saying, hey, Dave, congratulations. I got you approved up to $500,000 and I got you the 100% down program. Let's set up a time to take you out shopping this weekend. I know you're not ready to buy, but let's just get your feet wet. Let me introduce you to market and see. Now, I know you said you wanted a 3,000 square foot home with a 3-car garage and a pool and hopefully a view. I found 3 that fit that. You want to set up a time and look at it and show your wife, Georgina? You're like, heck yeah. And I did 19 of those calls. I think open houses are amazing. I'd actually met every one of them, looked them in the eyes. And so I think, well, my gosh, what were you saying? I mean, most of you can't even get a phone number out of people. Guess what? I struggled till I got really good at it. And to pick up 19 pre-qualified buyers in 24 hours. And so if you ever, I don't have time to teach on that now, Dave, but if you want to go to brentgove.com, my website, and click on agent training, real estate agent training, and then click on mega open houses right there. Then click on real estate training and mega open houses. I spoke for 90 minutes at my board. They usually have 40 people come every Friday. We had 235 people show up when they heard I was going to teach on this. And this is how I sold 4,000 homes in 25 years, wasn't 20. I had buyer's agents, I had listing specialists, I had 13 full-time assistants at one time. It's a machine, but you can watch. It's a 90-minute training. It's the best I ever did. Somebody FaceTime live did it, went viral. I post it there, brentgove.com. I just lay it out, and it's still completely relevant to this day. Like if I picked up and moved to Phoenix or West Palm Beach or Denver or Seattle, first thing I do is go buy 60 signs, and I'd be doing open houses in the best neighborhood. Well, they don't let us do it in that neighborhood. Okay, I'd do a different neighborhood. I'd move over here 15 miles over here where they will let me do it. And come on. Don't tell me why you can't. Tell me how you're going to get it done. And guess what I did? I would go kill it in your market overnight.
Well, see, one of the things that strikes me that I'm not sure who said it, may have been Kyle Whistler recently, that said, when you look at people who are making under 100, a little over 100, they're looking at what things cost. When you look at the people that are really killing it and doing it, they look at the value and say, what can I make and what can I do with it beyond what's looking at me right in the face? And that's exactly what you did, is you went out and you did it. Don't tell me what I can't do. This is what I'm going to do. 15 miles here, 5 miles there, because you answered the one question that you were going to get. Say, well, they only let me put up 2 signs in this town. Great, go to a town and do it someplace else. The other thing that you said before that I want to make sure really clear, and I hear this a lot as well. Well, it's against the law for me to do another company's open houses. Nope, never was, never will be. Just as long as you've got their permission. Of course, you don't want to walk into somebody's house without their permission.
Can I speak to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
a 16-year-old kid can do an open house. It does not take a real estate license to do an open house. They can't negotiate. But I mean, your 90-year-old grandma can do an open house. Anybody can host an open house. You can't negotiate. You can't talk shop. You could just, here it is, have at it. Would you like to leave your information? Anyone could do an open house, but I've done a lot. I used to do them Saturday, Sunday with my team, train my team. I got 45 buyers agents. If 2 or 3 were killing it, then I went to 8 or 10, then I went to 15 to 20. Remember Andrea Parker, agent number 33 on the Brent Gove team, 2003. Her first year, she sold 59 homes. She made $188,000. Wow. She was one of 33 agents. So every agent represents a source of income. The more they sell, the more I earn. I train them up. She made $188,000. Well, my first year, agents are on a 50-50 split. I made $188,000. And that was on one of my 33 agents. And so if you're watching this, get really good at door knocking or calling the expireds or the for sale boners. How do you get really, really good? You do it a lot. You apply massive action, and you're going to suck and horrible and say the wrong things and feel like an idiot. And I don't like this. I don't really care if you don't like it. Suck it up and go figure it out. I bootstrapped it and sucked it up and became a man. You be a man. You be a woman. You do what it freaking takes. Turn off your dang TV. Get rid of your Amazon Prime account. That's for losers. Hulu, Netflix, get rid of it. It's holding you back from your future. And I'm just frosted thinking about it. Your kids are counting on you. You need to step up, and I don't know what it is, man, but you better figure it out for you. I tried every one of those things, and what worked for me were open houses and the radio. I spent $1 million on the radio. I copied Jay Kinder, and I flipping killed it. I failed twice, but when I copied Jay, I succeeded, and that's where I started listing homes like crazy. But I went to Howard Britton Star Powered. I did Brian Buffini. I got certified. I went down to Carlsbad, went down to his office. I flew to Craig Proctor in Toronto, done it all. And so that's how you learn. I sucked at most everything, but I figured out what I was good at. And then I applied massive action and killed it. Today, I live in the Caribbean, man. It's awesome. You know what I mean? Here's my new house. Just moved here. We're going to go ahead and just go for a little while. I got my friend Randy Bird here. Say hi, Randy, to the world. Hey, right here. There's Randy Bird.
Hey, Randy.
Franchise.
Bro, how you doing?
This is a live yard.
That's Yard Stream. It looks
amazing.
It is.
Yeah, this is where I live. Every night I wake up, the moon shines across there. The beach goes for miles. Let me get out of the picture so it doesn't focus on me. It's not bad. This is if you're willing to pay the price and man up. Be a man, be a woman, and quit watching stupid TV. And you don't work all the time. You decide when you work. When you work, you work. And when you won't work, you play. I golfed this morning. I golfed yesterday. I'm golfing Monday. I'm doing Tony Robbins for the next 4 days. I'm fired up and lit up, and I'm able to make a difference in people's lives, because don't live a life of quiet desperation. Don't die with your music in you. I'm not trying to be anything. He said the connections in the imperfection.
The imperfection is the connection.
I love that. Be authentic. Be yourself. I'm not trying to be Dave here. I'm not trying to be Glenn Sanford. Glenn's very analytical. I'm not trying to be Gary Keller or Dave Linger. I'm just being me and letting it go, man. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. But I speak the truth, and I know what I'm talking about because I've been there, right? And I paid the price. It's fun now.
Dude, you got to know something. You and I just became best friends, whether you know it or not. It's to a point where you say stuff like that, and it's one of the reasons why I walked away from my brokerage, because I couldn't get the right people, and the people I would talk like that to would get pissed at me and wouldn't want anything to do with me because they didn't want to hear it. I had a meeting today with a young agent saying, look, if you really want to do this, you better get off your ass and start working, right? And then I went through, me and my buddy went through the 168-hour exercise with him, right? How many hours in a week? 168. We figured out he was doing shit for 69 hours, nothing.
Yes. Right? Tony Robbins says, if you're in your head, you're dead. Get out of your head. Oh, go do, right? So this is going to lead really well into the rest of our broadcast today. So I want to talk about models. I want to talk about first the coaching models that are out there, and then our business models. Of course, we're going to get to that, right? So I'm a firm believer that our coaching model and our business model, the ones that we're seeing today, the ones that are out there, I believe that they're all broken, right? I firmly believe they're broken. Why? You've got everybody out there selling challenges for this and challenges for that. Let's do this 2-day thing, all this other stuff. There's no hands-on shit. There's none of this stuff that really forces people to keep going, right?
what would you think about that? Do you think you agree with that, or what do you think about the coaching models, the way they are, or the way they've been?
I'm a fan of coaching because I've done it my whole
I am
life.
too.
And some coaches, honestly, were not good, but I found some phenomenal coaches along the way. But you have to go through the bad ones. I went to some seminars that were really good and some real estate seminars that were terrible. But I just went, man. I went. So here's the key. You can go slow and painful or fast and fun. You can like, I'm struggling. You're going slow and painful. Whatever lead generation method you pick, put the hammer down. I mean, go for it. No holds bar. And in 30 days, you can just be on top of the world. I'll tell this. Can I share a story, Dave?
Absolutely.
So a friend of mine had a coach, Sean Kokoska. He was the president of MAPS.
He's got a podcast.
Yep. He just came to EXP. He's got hundreds and hundreds of agents doing great. And so Barry, I like it. Someone's taping notes. Is that you? You're writing that down.
I just did that one. Yeah.
Right. It's cool. Slow and painful, fast and fun. So Barry has been in this for 18 years. I helped him get his license 18 years ago. He quit Hewlett-Packard and he's been successful. He's owned an Intero franchise. They got bought by Berkshire Hathaway. He's sold hundreds of homes. Well, last November, Barry is an 18-year veteran, ran out of escrow. So he had a deal that funding couldn't happen. Another deal, the buyer backed out, and he does commercial. Guy backed out of the building. He went from 3 big deals to nothing, to where I have no income for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And he got pissed. So he tells Sean Kokoska, man, this is not okay. I'm frustrated. 18 years in real estate, and I got nothing in escrow for the holidays. I have no money to bring my wife to pay bills with, and we're going to have to buckle up again and be tight. And he goes, and so Sean gave him some advice that was life-changing. And anybody listening to this, if you will do this, you will succeed. And what Sean told him, and it sounds so simple, he goes, Barry, you're in your head. I need you to start talking to anyone that'll listen. Your dentist, your doctor, your dry cleaner, your banker, your appraiser, your restaurant, the cashier at Safeway, the grocery store, and so he said 10 conversations a day. Talk about interest rates. Talk about this crazy market. Go, what do you think of this market? And you don't even have to tell me in real estate. Just start having conversations about real estate. Oh, I'm an agent. And have you refined your house? Oh my gosh. One of my clients got 1.9 30-year fixed, no points. I mean, I'm in for, oh my gosh, refi, it's going to save you 50, 60,000 interest. Here's who you call. And there's nothing in it for you. You won't get anything given it to your mortgage broker, but the size of the window you give through is the size of the window you get through. If you're not receiving, help your painter get jobs, help your roofer get jobs, help your mortgage broker get jobs, introduce your title rep to other agents, help them. It starts flowing back to you like a waterfall of love. And so here's the deal. He started doing 10 a day. It seems like ridiculous. In 30 days, it's 300 conversations. He said it was actually harder to do than he thought. He said to do it for 6 weeks. So he ended up having 450 conversations in 6 weeks. You know how many escrows he had 7 weeks later? 18 escrows. 18 escrows. Now you can go, well, nope. I challenge anybody watching this. Now he's paying $1,000 a month to Sean Kokoska, and Sean he needed to hear that. I think he's got 28 escrows right now. He just hired 3 buyer's agents. He can't handle it. He hired an assistant. He's blowing up. He's loaded with cash, and it was a little tweak a coach gave him. So I'm a huge fan of coaching. Some are better, some are worse.
Right. And that's my point. That's my point, Brett, is that there's a lot of stuff out there where it's just, it's the same stuff rehashed. Sean, icon coaching. He's an icon, in my opinion, right? There's a lot of great people out there, Tom Ferry and all those great guys who've been on the broadcast. It's just a matter of, things have to transform. Just like, going from RE/MAX to KW to EXP, things have to change. Things have to evolve. And that's what our evolution is all about, not only of the company that we're with, but also our own business, our own mind, our mindset. Everything's got to evolve, look at you. You evolved from doing a couple of deals in the beginning to, 48. And then you said, well, how am I going to do this? What do I got to do? Coaching. That's where it got you. Everybody needs to do that. Now to the business models, right? You went from a small one, regular bricks and mortar, to a RE/MAX bricks and mortar, to KW, still bricks and mortar. And then you blew out the walls and went to a company such as EXP. Talk to me about that and how that all happened for you.
Sure. And EXP has a deal with Regis. We have 3,000 offices worldwide. There's 8 beautiful flagship offices in Sacramento, 38 in San Jose, San Francisco, 142 in Southern California. There are more offices wherever you're located than anywhere else. So EXP agents have bricks and mortar right there. We work with Regis and open spaces, fully staffed secretaries, conference rooms, copiers, scanners. Go get a cup of coffee and pick up a listing while you're at it, because they're not a real estate agents. So we have bricks and mortar EXP. EXP just doesn't have any. Okay.
Right.
So we have 3,000 offices worldwide to work out of. They're iconic. They're beautiful. And so, but basically why I really liked RE/MAX. I really did. With Keller Williams, I liked it. I'd say 5 times better. I mean, maybe 10 times better. I will retire at Keller Williams. I will never leave Keller Williams. This is a brilliant company. I'm never going to leave, because I was not aware of anything better. And I couldn't fathom, I hadn't heard of anything better until I saw the model, EXP model. You know what I had after 20 years? Nothing but escrows and listings. After 20 years, I had a team. I had escrows and listings, but I kept reproducing hundreds of sales every year. There are clients who get fired up, and then if they get mad at the buyer, they want to sue the buyer wants to sue the seller, or contractors messed up a job and they want to sue the contractor, and you recommend it. And it's just, we deal with it. It's what we do. But you're just grinding. It's all we knew. This is what I'm going to do. This is what it is. Maybe I'll buy a franchise. Maybe I'll buy 10 franchises. Maybe I'll do expansion teams. But you're just grinding. And for decades, I did that. I'm like, this is what real estate is. I'm good. I'm one of the more successful ones. I'm happy, make good money. I only do listings fully leveraged. I take Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. I work Tuesday through Thursday. Occasionally I'll take an appointment there. Life is good. And I was just in for the ride. I was 51 years old. I enter EXP, and they said, we have equity awards. In other words, if you hit certain sales metrics, you get stock. If you cap, you get stock. If you cap and do 20 sales, you get 16,000 worth of stock. If you sponsor agents, you get stock. If you tell them about EXP, we're going to give you stock because you're helping our company grow. You get a seat at the table of ownership right here, baby. You get one of these. This is your seat, your name on it. You know what I had after 100 people referred to RE/MAX in my 12 years because I was successful. People like, you like RE/MAX? Heck yeah, I like RE/MAX. And they would join RE/MAX and sell 30, 40, 50 homes a year. And RE/MAX got paid 30, 40, 50 times a year. And I got nothing. And I was fine with that. There was no compensation program. I was happy to refer RE/MAX.
Right.
I go to Keller Williams. They have a profit share system for 7 generations, which EXP called, but they do, copied, but they do revenue share. And I referred 55 people to Keller Williams, and I averaged $700 a month in 8 years. I paid for my fully loaded Chevy Tahoe back in the day, right? I'm thinking, this is better than RE/MAX. They're paying for my car. But that wasn't change your life money, right? That wasn't change your life money. It was weekend fun money, maybe a car payment. It's not going to change your life. I go to EXP and I looked at their model. I actually looked behind the veil. I took a look. I'm very open-minded. I'm like, holy smokes. You can make $5,000, $10,000 a month. Like, if you want to get serious, within 6 months, no problem. By my 3rd month, I was making $10,000 a month. By my 5th month, I was making $27,000 a month. By my 13th month, it was $55,000 a month. By my 17th month, it was over $118,000 a month. Never made less than $100,000 a month net income outside of sales. I've never heard that story at Berkshire Hathaway, Coldwell Banker, because they have so much overhead because they are not cloud-based companies. And how's that going for your travel agent? Oh yeah, they're not there. What about Border Books? Gone. What about Yellow Cab? Bankrupt. What about Blockbuster? $5 billion, 800-pound gorilla? Gone. 8,000 major retail centers gone. Amazon's clobbering them. Travelocity, Hotels.com. DoorDash, Zoom, every cloud-based model is killing the competition. And you are turning up your nose at EXP. This was built by agents for agents with you can have some ownership. You're like, no, I love this brand. Well, that's great. I was proud that Dave Liniger would become a billionaire. I just produced escrows, and a lot of them, 30, 40. I got up to 55 escrows a month, but I didn't become, I'm just overhead, 13 full-time, yet overhead, right?
Right.
I go to Gary Keller. I watch Gary Keller become a billionaire. Very proud of that. Privately owned, debt-free. This is good for Gary. But what about Brent? What about my retirement? You turn 50, and I'm like, man, I got nothing. I don't own Keller Williams. I don't own RE/MAX. EXP says, we'll let you own a piece of it. Half the company's set up to be given to the agents who help to create sales metrics, produce sales. And so I get going, talk about expansion models. Last year, just in my 7 levels, I closed 40,407 residential sales, 40,000 closings. Am I that much better than who's the star, the golden child of Keller Williams? I respect him. I say this with love. He's out of Washington. Do you know his name? He's a big Ben Kinney. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ben, if you're watching this. You're amazing. You're incredible. I'd be shocked if he closed over 3,000 sales last year. He's their number one. The model doesn't lend itself for this. This year, I'll close 80,000 homes. Well, you're 1 in a million. No, I have lots of people who close 2,000 or 3,000. I have lots of people who close 400, 500, 600, 700. The model's incredible once you understand it. And that was a long time ago when I was making 100,000 a month. And then it doubled. And then it doubled again. And then it doubled again. And then it doubled again, which is hence why I live in the Caribbean in an Act 60 area where you can really have some advantageous tax benefits that are like through the roof, perfectly legal. It's like the new Monaco, Puerto Rico, and it's beautiful. But here's the deal. Man, I'll say to you this way. If you don't do EXP, people will ask you how you like Berkshire Hathaway or Sotheby's or Christie's or Coldwell or Keller or wherever you are, and they will join. And you might get a steak dinner, a cup of coffee, maybe a little profit sharing from Keller if the particular franchise has any profit, but you don't have any equity and it's nothing of significance. Now, there are people who make good money at some of those things, but they've been there 25, 30 years. I've been here for 4 years. The company's been around for 11 years. We went from 20 million to like 9 billion. And I own a huge piece of that. And you're like, well, I missed it. There's 45,000 EXP agents. You guys, there's going to be 250,000 in the next 4 to 5 years. If you own a franchise, it's like if you own a Blockbuster, you knew Netflix was coming, you better sell now. If you own Borders Books and you knew Amazon was coming and what it was going to do, sell now. If you're a travel agent and you knew what Travelocity and Trivago and hotels and rental car and cheapcruise.com, sell now. I'm telling you, you should sell at the top. The market's high, COVID's high, get out of your franchise. I just had a guy, I won't say a high-end luxury. He owns, I'll change the number a little bit, not much, 40 offices. And I'll again change the number to protect the innocent, about 950 agents and broker associates. He watched my video, themodelexplained.com, which is a benefits webinar. It shows you why EXP. What does it really do for agents and brokers? And you want to get into the details, see behind the veil, quit listening to your sales manager, your OP, your regional director. You don't see the forest through the trees. You're so into it. Right. See for yourself, themodelexplained.com. He watched it. He sold his entire company. It scared him to death. And let me tell you, in 10 years, we're going to be in 100 countries and we're going to have 1 million agents around the world. Keller is the largest company they ever got there. It was like 188, I believe. Then they're kind of on their way back down. Look at their numbers. They're on the way back down. And we're going to ring the bell to over 1 million. There's 208 countries. There's 25 million agents and brokers worldwide. They're all coming to EXP. The top stars of every major brokerage in Sacramento just came to EXP. They just came. When you get the number one agents at every single company coming to your company, look out. It's happening nationwide. You may not do your homework, ask questions. And so it is amazing. I'm on for the ride. I'm going to be a part of growing this company to 1 million agents, and 45,000 make it a $9 billion company. And the stock of $135-$40 a share. Wait till we have 250,000 agents. Watch what happens. I think we're not supposed to speculate. So it may go up, it may go down.
Right.
Past performance is no guarantee. If I got to make the SEC happy. I'm not saying to buy it. I'm saying receive it. I had friends at Keller Williams tell me it would be worth nothing in 2 years with passion and conviction. People I respected. They look at me and say, in 2 years, I'm telling you that stock will be worthless. Not only was it not worthless, it went to, I think back then, 2 years ago, 200-300 million. And then over this last year, it went to 9 billion. I'm so glad I did not listen to well-meaning, sincere people I respected. I thought, you know what? I'm not buying a franchise. It's $149. I'm not signing a lease for 10 years for 20, 30, 40,000 a month. Now that's a risk. I'm going to try EXP for 6 months. It's either I'm going to love it or I'll go back to Remax. I'll go to Keller Williams. Maybe I'll go independent, Brent Gove Real Estate. Don't be so afraid to take a chance. I failed with Craig Proctor marketing, but I succeeded with how to build a team, leverage staff, CRM, but his marketing didn't work for me either. You mentioned it didn't work for you, right? There were things, Brian Buffini by referral only. I did pretty well with that. People like me. I did the Popeyes and the notes, but where I really hit out of the pack were other areas. So anyways, Craig Proctor's great. That was not meant to be a put down. I know people who did really well with this.
Understood.
So that's my take on the whole thing. Be willing to put your chin on the line. What's the worst case? It doesn't work. You go back somewhere else. You didn't spend 50 or 100,000 for a franchise.
One of the things you hear a lot about, Brent, is that, well, I don't want to bring people in, and I just want to do my business. I don't need the stock stuff, and I'm not looking for any of that. And it's like, oh, but okay. So let me just tell you a quick story. This week I was on a mastermind, and I'm on every Monday with a bunch of people where there's over $2 billion of production on. And I do that every Monday. So where are you going to get that? And it is 100 people on this call, from new agents to mega agents, and every answer from the newest agent that just got their license to the mega agent gets their question answered. Where are you going to get that, Brent?
That's awesome. That is awesome. I love it.
Right. And I remember a video by Dan Beer a while ago talking about, that the difference between all the companies and all the ones you mentioned. You've mentioned all of them or most of them, right?
Right.
The thing is that our transactions are done the same everywhere, right? The same. Right. I mean, every state's the same way. The contract, the signatures, the money, the whole thing. The only difference, if you put it all together, is the collaborative effect that we're able to utilize. Look at this. I've got what I call the MML, the man, the myth, the legend, on with me on my broadcast. I've had Dan on, Kyle on. I've had all these people on because of the accessibility that we have and the collaborative effect that we have. I'm sorry, I was with Century 21, great company, but I know that when I went to a conference, that was the only time I could talk to these people. And honestly, people such as you, who are very big in the system and very big in your business, if you were that guy on stage, you'd be talking about all your assistants and all your buyer's agents, and a guy like me could not relate. But when you go to that mastermind that I was on Monday, it was. Think about this. Dan Beard just teamed at over 300 million last year. He's talking down to the nitty gritty and how he circled prospects.
Nice.
You can't get that anywhere else. Or maybe you can. Maybe I'm missing something. So there's all of that. And
Well, yeah, I want to hit on something you hit on. Like, I don't want to recruit. I don't want to affect my production. I decided to take 1 day a week, Fridays from 2 to 5. And if you want to use the word recruit. Who do we remember from 120 years ago? The recruiters. 2 guys, last names, Coldwell Banker. You don't know anybody else, but we know the recruiters, and it affected their grandchildren's grandchildren because a $1 billion hedge fund called Relish bought them. And then we know these other people, Sotheby's, high-end luxury, guess what they were? Recruiters. If they just sold the high-end homes and didn't recruit agents, guess what? We wouldn't know them, but we know Sotheby's, and they too got bought by a $1 billion hedge fund called Relish. And then the founders of Century 21, they built that up and they sold to Relish. And then Better Homes, they became recruiters. They grew that because they're recruiters, and they sold to a $1 billion hedge fund and 24 other brands. And then you got Dave Liniger. He was showing property, taking listings. Like, this is ridiculous. Just doing production, being a hamster on a wheel. I'm going to build something where I get 1% of 100 man's effort instead of 100% of my own. If I have 100 agents and they each do a sale a month, wow. You think, well, it's hard. It's hard to do that. Well, so is door knocking, calling expireds. To really break into become a listing agent, anything you've ever applied yourself to, you will figure out. Yes, it may be hard until it gets easy. Again, if you do it easy, it's really hard. If you go hard, it becomes easy. Most people never just get out there and flip and go for it. And so you need to go for it with reckless abandonment, make it happen. And so Gary Keller, do you know in the 80s, Gary used to show property, like, get in my car here, I'll write an offer for you. And then he listed homes. Then he connected with Dave Keller or Dave Williams. And they go, let's form a company. I know my last name's Keller. Yours is, let's call it Keller Williams. And let's go recruit agents. You know what Gary Keller's favorite thing to do is to recruit agents and build a company. If you're smart, you will make the time to learn how to attract agents, list agents. You can list homes. I list 60 homes, hand-picked, cherry, the ones, nice people at high prices that were coachable. Anything that didn't have the right price zone or was too far away or they weren't coachable or lower, I'd give to my 6 listing specialists. I had a pretty good life. And you know what? I grinded those 60 deals every year. If you have 10 agents that want to talk to you on each home, that's 600 conversations. Now let's talk to the mortgage conversations. There's another 60, all the title reps you're talking to and the home inspectors and the general contractors and your assistants. It's thousands it's crazy just to do 60 deals. But here's the deal. Let's say this year you do 160. So all you did, Gove? No, I had a team. They did hundreds outside of that. Let's say you do 100 this year. Really? What will that pay you next year? Nothing. Let's say this year you enroll 10 or 15 agents for EXP. The 60 sales you make this year, they won't be there next year. The average homeowner moves every 7 years. You have to wait 7 years. You might get some referrals, this and that. Good for you. Good. But you have to do all the work.
Right.
It's not just, you get a referral. You still got to grind and find them a home and do it, get all this done. So here's the deal. Those 10 or 15 or 20 agents you refer into EXP and you sponsor them, attract them, recruit them, they'll be there next year. No, they won't. They'll quit. Really? No. I referred 25 people in 5 months, and 13 months later, there were 870. Okay, that people weren't quitting. Our retention's through the roof. We have 45,000. We had 1,200 agents 4 years ago. We went to 45. There's nobody in the world that has grown like EXP. Stop pushing it away. Study it. Either we pass the mustard test or we don't. Either you'll find the fly in the ointment or you won't. Those are old-fashioned terms. Yep. But bottom line is, vet it out. Do your homework. Do not listen to your sales manager. It's like I'm listening to the general manager of the Lakers. I'm telling them I want to go to the Clippers. You think it's a good idea? No, the Lakers are great. Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees. You're an East Coast guy.
Yeah, I'm a Yankee guy.
Or I'm thinking about going to the Boston Red Sox. Are you kidding? That's like that. They're the enemy, the rivalry between the Red Sox and the Yankees. And so you get, yes, if you're leaving Coldwell Banker for Remax, they're going to tell you why it's a terrible idea. If you're leaving Remax for Keller Williams, they're going to tell you why it's a horrible idea. They told me it was a horrible idea. They were wrong. And when I left Keller Williams for EXP, they told me it would destroy my career, just like Remax told me about Keller Williams. I broke all my sales records within 10 months of joining EXP at a company no one ever heard of. People do business with you. NAR did a study. Only 2% of the American public cares what brand their agent's with. Only 2%. Man, quit giving your broker so much credit. Don't give EXP credit. EXP, man, it's you out there studying the tools. Don't take the tools, but it's you implementing and going for it. So I want to say this. Next year, those 10, 15, 20 agents will be there. But then if they all tell 4 or 5, you'll have 80 to 100 next year. And the following year, 200 or 300. You can make a couple $100,000 a year for your retirement to chunk down your mortgage. Don't buy a boat. Don't buy a motor home. Don't do that stuff. Pay off all your bills. Get out of debt. Because to tell you what, this market, it's going to flip in 1 to 2 years, maybe 3. I wouldn't be surprised if it flips hard in a year. Now is the time to make hay. Well, that's why I better do production. You'll be out to dry in a year or 2. So do your production, but take 1 day a week and do some attraction with your production. Don't get suckered into what your sales manager, it'll hurt your production. Did not hurt my production. No. And within 17 months, I didn't have to do any production. I gave away everything because I was making over 100,000. You're a special story. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'll end with this and give it back to you, Dave. They call me crazy. At first they call you crazy. You're crazy. You have lost your mind. But then they call you for advice, right? First they call you crazy. Then they call you for advice. And so they're going to call you nuts, crazy. Have you lost your mind? But if you stick to it and you apply massive action, you will be successful. Do it 1 day a week. Do your production either 4 or 5 days a week. 1 day a week. I did it 2 to 5 for 3 hours. And it just was life-changing. I will help you. Dave will help you. If you're interested, reach out to Dave. I want you to send him a private message. Call him. His website stuff's all over the place. I want you to say, Dave, okay, talk to me, man. I've listened to you. You're for real. You're authentic. Talk to me. And take a deeper dive. This is life-changing. Do not miss this. Blockbuster missed Netflix. Netflix tried to sell their idea to Blockbuster. Said, no, we're in charge here. We're big and strong. 5 years later, they were bankrupt. This is the future. Talk to Dave.
You know, it's amazing. You know, there have been like 5 or 6 mic drop moments in this broadcast. It's just blowing me away. It's just absolutely amazing. And there's a really important point that you made. I've made several times, and I want to just really bring it out to the forefront. Nobody cares about your company, right? Now, 10 years ago, Brent, there were 5 yeses you needed a listing appointment. It was your company, your marketing, the price and commission. Now it's you, your marketing, the price and commission. What's missing there? Your company. Look, they're all great companies, and you said it before. I'm gonna say it, and I keep saying it. But you know what? When you've got the opportunity and you've got the tools, and look at what your investment is besides. Look at your investment, right? What's the return on your investment? You said $149 before, right?
One time 4 years ago, the one-time startup fee. It's crazy.
It's just absolutely, Brett. This has been amazing. What would be? I want to respect your time. I know you got a lot of things going on. What would be one thing that you would tell people to do to build their businesses as a real estate agent?
Okay, so forget about EXP. If you're new, go find the biggest, baddest agent at Coldwell, Remax, Keller Williams, Sotheby's, Christie's, Berkshire Hathaway, Century 21, wherever you find the biggest, baddest agent. I mean, a monster. And you go work for them on a 50-50 split. Like, well, I'll lose all that money. You know what? When they sell, $100 million, $2 billion homes a year, they know things. And if you watch them and observe, you will pick up their good habits. Do not let somebody teach you how to do this who sells 30 homes a year. They have bad habits. They're not risking their ego. They're playing it safe. Find someone who sells at a high level. It doesn't have to be a team. It could be a guy like Dave if he was just all by himself, but he's selling 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 homes, 100 homes a year. I mean, even really the 40 to 60 is a sweet spot there.
It is.
Under their wing. Now, if they're doing all $100,000 homes, low-end homes, don't do that. They haven't got it figured out yet. You could sell 20 homes at $200,000 or 20 homes at $400,000, and it's easier to sell the homes at $400,000, and you make twice the income. So find somebody and study for them. Now, if you're like, I already sell 30, 40 homes a year. For you, my friend, I want you to say, I'm no longer going to sell a home under. I don't know your market, but the national average is what, 3? Do you know the national average of a home price today, roughly, Dave? Do you know what that is?
It's under 3 still.
So 3, okay. So let's say you're there, you're selling 250 to 3, 250 to 3, but you're like, man, I'd rather sell 30 homes between 4 and 5. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to saw off 350. If it's under 350, refer it out to somebody. It's called the principal vacuum. Not that these people are bad, but get rid of what you don't want to make room for what you do want. If you get so busy selling the 250 homes, they refer you to their 250 friends. And you're the king, you're the queen of 250. You need to saw it off at 350. Everything under 350, you refer out. I don't care, but I might lose it. You're thinking small.
Right.
Great time to go get the 450s and 5s and then put massive action into what it is you do. If it's buy refer only, I mean, up it times 10. If you're calling the expireds, the for sale by owners, if you're doing open houses, start doing them every Saturday. I take time off. I was the dad at the Apple Hill, at the pumpkin patch, at the zoo, because I took my free time during the week. On the weekends, I was a weekend warrior. So I did open houses from 10 to 5 on Saturday and 10 to 5 on Sunday, which are the
10
early
to 5.
Oh, yeah. If it was hot at 5, I'd stay till 6, 7, 8. I said, honey, you're not going to see me on the weekends. I'm going to go kill something and drag it home to the family. I'm going to go make it happen. And I would stay there. Sometimes they're rolling through the door at 9 o'clock at night. I just stay there, man. I'm staying there. And they're rolling through the door, and I'm just racking up clients. And then when you have a lot of clients, I remember it was not unusual to sell 8, 10, 12, 15 homes a year. A month myself. Right. And have those months where you're just killing it and you were giving away buyers to whoever you want. Get good at this thing, massive action, and then start referring out the little stuff. I'll end with this. A friend of mine, he owns Sotheby's now. I went to high school with him. He was the king of Antelope. Antelope's an okay suburb in Sacramento. Him and his brother, Bill, were selling 50 homes a year. Everybody does them, Nick and Bill Sadek. And in the crash, his homes had gotten up to like 354, but in the crash, Antelope fell really hard. And it went all the way down to like 80 to 100 and 120 back in 2008, 9, 10. I mean, it was like 75%. I mean, there's like, and all of a sudden he's still selling 50 homes, but at 120, but his bills were up at 350,000 price. He was literally devastated. He decided, hell, now or never, I'm going to tear the bandage off. And he sold his house I think at break even because the market had crashed hard. He rented a home. He said he would be embarrassed to show. It was like a 3-bedroom, 1-bath rental in Granite Bay, Sacramento's best neighborhood. He could barely afford this little humble 1977 disgusting little house, but he inserted himself into a market that was high end. The homes there were $500 to $5 million. Not like Antelope. He didn't know anybody. Then he joined the country club, paid it $3,000, and he started going to every fundraiser, everything. He joined the Chamber of Commerce. He joined the different clubs they have in different cities. You know, the Rotary Club. There's one. The Rotary Club, Chamber of Commerce, social, and he started mixing up. He went on to become the #1 luxury agent in that market. He outbeat everyone who was selling 20 and 30 years they've been there. He came in and kicked everyone's bottom. Sotheby's said, you need to own a Sotheby's. He goes, I think you're right too. This guy went from being 50 homes a year and I live in Antelope. Oh, okay. It's a very blue collar market. Nobody goes, wow. You say you live in Granite Bay? Now I think he sells only maybe 80 homes a year, but right. They're all $2 to $3 million. 50 at 350, and he put himself in there. Come on, man, rip the Band-Aid off, get out of that market. You don't want to be the king of that market, and go to another market and just go for it. And you can transform your life. Of course, the best model, I believe, is EXP with an 80-20 split, a $16,000 cap. Then you go to 100%, you cap it a month to 200% the rest of the year. I was like, well, I'm only paying $9,000 a year. I save $7,000 a year being my broker. You're not saving anything. You're not getting any stock awards. You're not getting any revenue share. You're paying a fortune. Again, you need to talk to Dave. Stop. I want you to text, email, reach out. There's his information right there. However you reach Dave here, and ask him about EXP. So that Brent Gove guy's crazy. I'm telling you, this is the future of real estate. We are the 800-pound gorilla, and we're going to have 40,000 agents join us this year. We're going to go to 85,000 agents, and we'll be 250,000, 250,000. No one's ever done it. We're going to be there in about 4 years, and you get to be a part of this. You are not too late. We paved all the gravel roads. We filled in the potholes, and we just paved them onto the on-ramp. Come join us at EXP, and I cannot wait to meet you. I'm doing an event in August, Dallas at the Gaylord Resort. It's just me. It's not EXP. I have 6,000 people coming. The EXP will be much bigger. I'm just a guy. And I have 6. In fact, Tony Robbins is like, can I come? He's stopping in his G5 in the 3rd day of my event. Tony Robbins is going to teach us all day long. Tony Robbins showing up to my event. You should come. It's August 17th, 18th, and 19th. It's our build conference. We're building a future, whether it's in sales, luxury, commercial, we're building revenue share and stock. Ask Dave about that. Again, reach out to Dave. Dave, thanks for having me on. In fact, oh my gosh, I actually need to run right now. But
right. So one thing I want to tell you is that you are getting a hat. That's the reason you came on.
It is. It's the only reason.
Tinder's got one. A lot of people's got it. I want to thank you. Is there anything I can do for you to help you grow your business?
Go love and serve people in real estate. That's what I'm doing. You're putting your heart on your sleeve. Keep doing what you're doing. We're changing lives. We'd like to change your life, but keep doing what you're doing, Dave. You're a great guy. I love your authenticity, your passion. It's obvious. You fired me up. I'm like, woo. So thank you for having me on your show. Awesome. It's an honor.
Thank you so much. Hey, man, thanks for coming. If you can stay on, great. I'm just going to go off now. Thank you so much. Everybody, have a great day. Thank you, Brent. And here we go.